Ever know what you want to say, but struggle with how to say it? Whether you're asking for what you need, setting a boundary, or navigating a difficult conversation, Dear Man gives you a framework to communicate clearly and effectively. Most of us wear many hats, and each role comes with its own responsibilities, expectations, and sometimes difficult conversations. Dear Man is a DBT interpersonal effectiveness skill designed to help you express your needs, make requests, and set boundaries while staying focused on your goal. Think about a conversation that didn't go quite the way you hoped. Maybe you stayed quiet, struggled to get your point across, or the conversation became more tense than you intended. Assertive communication sits between passive and aggressive communication. It means expressing yourself clearly and directly while respecting both your needs and the needs of the other person. Dear Man gives us a structure to do exactly that. Now that you understand the why, let's look at the how. Dear Man might seem like a lot at first, but think of it as a roadmap, not a script. We'll break it down step by step using everyday examples. Now let's imagine that you have a friend who has been arriving late every time you make plans. You're starting to feel frustrated, but you also care about the friendship. Let's walk through how Dear Man can help. D. Describe. Start with the facts. Describe only what someone could observe. Instead of saying, "You're always disrespectful," try, "The last 3 times we made plans, you arrived about 30 minutes late." Facts are easier to hear than judgments. E. Express. Next, express how the situation affected you. Use I statements. For example, "I felt disappointed and worried because I wasn't sure if something had happened to you." This helps someone understand your experience without putting them on the defensive. A. Assert. For assert, clearly state what you're asking for or what you need. Try not to hint, assume, or leave the other person guessing. For example, "I'd appreciate a text if you're running late," or "I'm not able to stay if you're more than 30 minutes late." Being direct does not mean being harsh. R. Reinforce. Finally, reinforce why your request matters or what could improve if it is respected. For example, "When we communicate like this, I feel more respected and our time together feels better." Helping someone understand the benefit of the request can make cooperation more likely. That's Dear. Clearly laying out what happened, how you feel, what you need, and why it matters. But what happens when the other person responds? That's where Man comes in. Sometimes conversations don't simply end there. Maybe the other person disagrees. Maybe they become emotional. Maybe they change the subject. M. Mindful. Stay focused on your goal. If the conversation starts drifting, gently return to your original request. You don't need to defend yourself over and over. Keep coming back to what matters. A. Appear confident. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's about speaking calmly, standing comfortably, making eye contact, and trusting that your needs deserve space in the conversation. N. Negotiate. Healthy communication isn't about winning. It's about finding a solution. Maybe your friend says, "I usually leave work late." You might respond, "Well, would it help if we planned 30 minutes later instead?" Flexibility can strengthen relationships without sacrificing your boundaries. Making the request is only part of the conversation. Man helps you to stay focused, confident, and flexible when things don't go as planned, while keeping both your needs and the relationship in mind. It's important to accept that even when you communicate well, people may still disagree. Emotions might rise. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to pause the conversation and come back to it later. Assertiveness isn't about controlling someone else's response. It's about communicating with integrity. Remember, if speaking up feels difficult, you're not alone. Many people worry that they'll disappoint someone, or seem selfish, or damage the relationship. Those fears are understandable, but healthy relationships should make room for honest conversations. Assertiveness isn't something you're necessarily born with. It's a skill, and like any skill, it becomes easier the more you practice. You don't have to communicate perfectly. You simply have to keep showing up with honesty, clarity, and compassion. Thanks for spending a few moments with us today. For more free practical tools, reflections, and resources, join us on the Mindful List. Until next time, take care, and wishing you more mindfulness.